Xs1100 Cafe Racer. And there's my son helping me. So, I'm going to show you a picture of the frame in a minute, but these are the standard swing arm bolt things that bolt through the frame and lock into the swing arm. I'm replacing the swinging arm with another swing arm because I'm going to convert this bike into a shaft drive, a chain drive, because it is a shaft drive, and I'm also going to convert it into a monoshock as well. So what I've had done is some new parts made for it. And my girlfriend thinks it's highly amusing. So as you can see, there is a slight difference between the old parts and the new parts. The old parts are that long, the new part is that long. The old part has an hexagon head thing. This has got a nut thing. And this is my new tube. Now I'll show you where these parts go. They're going to go in there, because as you can see, this is my frame that I'm doing. It's got the rear loop, but I've also welded on some framework for a single shock, because that is where the existing shock absorber went, and now that's gone, so the rear shock will now be down there. That's the bottom part of it. So we will see if it fits. Zach,
you're recording the ground.
Shut up. Zach, passes that swinging arm. So I'll show you now where this pipe's going to fit.
Right up your egg.
So this is the swinging arm. The swinging arm is off a YZF 1000R Thunder Ace, and this is the old swinging arm pivot tube, and that is the new one. So as you can see, the difference in length, okay, and as you can see, the difference in diameter as well. So that new one slides into there like so. Now as you can see, it's a bit longer than the swinging arm, but that's not a problem, because I'll show you why in a minute. Right, I'll show you it off the frame and I'll show you it on the frame. It's going to have a Thunder Ace front end on as well. So there's the chassis, swinging arm, bits. We're back in a minute. Right, I've made a slight error. That big long tube that goes through this swinging arm, I don't know if you can just see it there, and then the same on the other side there. I think it's just a little bit too long, because I'm not giving these screws, they're not screwing in enough, which is a shame. Oh, by the way, Zach, can you just lean it that way? I had a rotten bit of metal down there, so I had to replace this. I had to replace this as well, so that's been replaced. But as you can see, there is the shock absorber. Didn't understand properly, that. So there is the shock absorber.
They want it going down.
It will, just leave it. So the rear shock. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
So, fuck. I can't believe I've got that wrong. Right, anyway. So this is how it's going to look fucking think what's wrong with this. I'm gonna have to stand back to fucking Huddersfield to fucking zoom in, man.
This video's gonna be proper shit.
Shut up. So that's my cafe racer, rolling chassis. So, with a monoshock conversion. That's a Thunder Race rear end, Thunder Race swinging arm and shock linkage, Thunder Race front end, so back to the drawing board for the tube that was in there. Spile. Right, I think I've sorted it. So as you can see, I'm trying to get as far back as I can. So the lines are coming on all right. And then obviously the rear shock is on. Right, that there now then. I need to find the locking nuts that go onto that. So there's a little locking nut that should go on it. And same on that side. But if we look, just hang on, Zach, stay there, Zach. You can see that the head is just sticking out, and on this side it's just sticking out, so that's all tightened up square now. Well, it isn't tightened up tight, but it's I think at the right distance. So now if we just zoom down there, so I need a spacer making for that and a spacer making for that side. Now you can see on that side, on this side, I've had to chop a little bit off with an hacksaw, and you can see I'm just not straight, so I need to get that on a lathe and turn down flat. And then what I'll do is I'll get a little spacer made for that. So the spacer is going to go in there, and what that'll do, that'll keep the shock hopefully central in the swinging arm, like that. George, just put it on side stand, Zach. Right, I need a new side stand making because it's just leaning over too far. It's a bit top heavy. But let me know what you think, guys, because this is my cafe racer so far, with a Thunder Race front end and a Thunder Race rear end. Let's try and get you one from this side again. A good long shot so you can actually see. Now, the angle of the swinging arm, I googled it and it said between, I think, 10 and 13 degrees. I think that's something like 14 degrees. So I'm going to have to live with that. Have to wait and see.